Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taormina.
Welcome to a special OAA Now. This is the boys basketball edition of the the preview show here. I am Sammy Taormina, blog around the OAA, the host of Lastly Brain Cells and the host between 2 minutes and Orion I'd like to welcome those watching on the local voice on SoundCloud and those watching on YouTube. Of course, we're going to be covering this on YouTube. This is the 2025-2026 boys basketball preview show. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk all four divisions. We got interviews from Media Day, and also we got some call-ins as well. We're gonna start off with the OAA Blue. Of course, the Blue is where I have the most the most videos that I've had. We're gonna start off with Royal Oak. Obviously the Ravens. Coach Aaron Smith was not at Media Day, but we have him calling in this week. So here's Coach Aaron Smith. Coach, thank you for calling in this week.
What's up, Sammy? Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you.
Of course, you've had a lot of success with the Detroit Pistons, and of course, they're off to a very good start. Are you still working your gig with the Pistons?
Oh, no doubt. That's why I wasn't there for media night. I was at a Michigan game. But yeah, for sure, I'm still with the Pistons, senior director of youth engagement. So, 24 hours of basketball for me. But we're hoping to take some of that same success the Pistons are seeing and throw that on to the Ravens this year.
Before we talk the Ravens, obviously, talk about the Pistons start. I mean, obviously, when they played Chicago, they knocked off the Bulls without their entire starting lineup. So what's your thoughts about that? You know what I mean? Their start right now, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no, Sammy, it's a culture, man. It's crazy how hard these guys are playing. I just got to credit JB Bickerstaff, and he's got these guys believing. And yeah, it was like typically our whole G League team out there playing against the Bulls, but to see guys like Danish Jenkins, Tolu Smith, I have the honor of being the PA announcer for the Motor City Cruise. So I saw those guys the last couple of years, and to see them, do this kind of damage in real NBA games is really cool. But I think it's a testament just to the culture, man, of the Detroit Pistons that JB has set. And whether it's Cade Cunningham or Danish Jenkins or Paul Reed, I just feel like they all believe that they can, be productive and win basketball games.
And you forgot to mention Jalen Duren. I mean, the way he's been playing, obviously.
Yeah, anyone's lying if they say they saw this coming from Jalen, that's for sure. But I tell you what, I think it's legit. It's real. He's been consistent, and he's turning into an absolute beast. You know what I mean? Not just a good player, but a beast. And, we haven't seen that in a long time. So from that position.
And you look at that Piston team, I mean, they are doing wonders right now. If they get the number one seed in the East, I'd be surprised. I mean, considering especially the way the NBA is. But this is a golden opportunity for a Pistons fan. Take advantage of this and,
talk to him.
Yep, it is.
Sammy, we got to get you out to some games too, man. I want to see you out of Little Caesars Arena. All right?
I'm going to try to get there. I'm going to try to. Let's talk now the Ravens of Royal Oak. Last season, it was very successful for you guys. You got to the district finals. You had a really good year. Now you're up in the modified blue. Recap last year for me.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It was somewhat successful this season-wise. We were hoping to, challenge a little bit more for that top spot in the league. But, with that, I think it prepared us for a really strong district. And, yeah, the experience that we got playing Athens in that district final was something that I think was very important for us going into this year. And, losing by 2 points has kind of been our mantra, man. It's 2 points, and that could be something as simple as a box out in the first quarter. You didn't roll hard in the second quarter. So, we're really tapping into just making every single play count this year, simply because, we were 2 points away or 3 points away from doing something that the school has never done, which is win a district title. So we hope to do that this year.
And when you look at the division that you're in and you look at this year's team, I mean, talk about some impact players that OA Nation needs to know about when talking about the Ravens.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you asking that because we feel like we have, one of those ones in CJ Harrison. He's our returning junior, averaged about 15 last year. He broke the school record with 73 three-pointers in the season last season for us. But, don't like to throw the word around, but we think he's pretty special. And so he I like to say he won the off season because he got in the weight room a little bit more. Skill development was huge. And so I think you're going to see a really, really, really good guard this year, one that is going to be competing for one of the best guards, obviously in the OAA, but hopefully in the state. So he's definitely going to, our engine is him. But I think we surround him with some veterans like Sam Zeller, who was our second leading scorer last year and our leading rebounder. A lefty who's just, he's a scoring machine. He's a gym rat. He's in the gym a lot. So between those two, we're going to rely a lot on them on the offensive end. But I do think we're going to be a better defensive team this year, cohesively, with guys like Taylor Vance. We have Pontez Bates, also seniors. And so we're bringing some guys that got some good experience last year that are going to help us on both ends of the court, and we surround them with what we think are two really, really good offensive players.
And when you look at Royal Oak traditionally, obviously you got Brian over there on the girls' side. Talk about how important defense is over at Royal Oak.
Yeah, I think you hear every coach say that, and we talked about the Pistons early. Man, it's real. Like that game against the Bulls, they called, I think the Bulls were on like a 10-0 run or something, and JB Bickerstaff called a timeout. And the energy that the Pistons came out of that timeout with on the defensive end was crazy, and I was able to see that up close. And so we just want to mimic that with us, man. We got to pay attention on that side of the court, and it doesn't make SportsCenter, all the time. You don't get the highlights, but that's where you win the basketball games. And it sounds good, but very few coaches are able to really impart that on their team consistently. And so that's something that me and my staff are hoping to do this year, bring that level of energy and enthusiasm on the defensive end. And you mentioned Zapata, his girls always are playing good defense as well, man. So that's what we're trying to do. But a lot of people talk about it, but we're trying to be about it this year on that end of the court.
And I know, been with the Pistons, obviously. I know you go back to the 04 Pistons, the 89 to 90 Pistons. I know how important is the Pistons style of play to the Ravens style of play?
Okay, Samuel, I don't go back to 89, 90, all right? I was a kid then. Don't make me that old.
I'm sorry. I mean, I was born in 87, so give me some slack here.
But, yeah, to your point, it's funny. It's kind of like, because I get to see every single game, I find like the personality of the Pistons, sometimes I try to impart that onto the Ravens, and it's just really cool. I learn so much by, I sit courtside every single game, so I hear these coaches, I see what they do, I see how the players play. So, yeah, we definitely try to incorporate that. I think this year's Piston team is kind of like that bad boy mentality. That's not necessarily what we are, but I think from a work ethic standpoint, a belief, whoever's in the game, we believe in each other type deal. That's where we look to mimic the Detroit Pistons this year, and then hopefully moving forward every single year.
And let's look at this division, of course, you're in. Of course, I call this the modified blue because you look at you look at, of course, the white and the blue, all very, very similar in division. So I'm going to talk about, we're going to talk a couple of teams. I do want to talk to you about the rivalry with Berkeley.
Sure.
And I think, and those are, but let's start with that. Let's start with the rivalry with Berkeley. I know a lot of Ravens. I know the school, the community, and we know that rivalry. So talk about the rivalry with Berkeley in your eyes and how much that rivalry has really impacted you guys and you guys as a community.
Yeah, it's real. I think every city, every teams have their rivalries, so we're so close as far as geography with them. And for me, when I first came in, my job, or I wanted to, at least personally, to make sure that between us, Royal Oak Shrine, Clawson, and Berkeley, that Royal Oak High is the best team. That was my goal consistently. And so, with Berkeley, man, it feels like we're almost like 500 against them, where I know they beat us 3 or 4 times in a row, and we're on a good spurt now where we've beaten them 3 times in a row. So we just want to continue to, make Royal Oak proud, because for some reason, it's that game means more than most, especially to the city of Royal Oak. So we want to just continue. Hopefully this year we got them 1 time since we're not in the same division, but we want to make it 4 in a row. But yeah, it's important. And I just have, I have a lot of respect for Coach Sermo. Props to him. I know he's no longer there, so he just did a tremendous job. So it'll be a little different without having him on the sideline. But looking forward to continuing the rivalry for sure.
And of course, let's look at the division. As I mentioned, this is the modified blue. So when you look at this division in your eyes, what do you see this division within your own eyes?
Yeah, I think, and it doesn't always happen, just respectfully, but, I think sometimes the OAA gets it right, sometimes they get it wrong. And I think this year they got it right, because the parity is really good, especially in the blue and the white. Last year, we played teams in divisions higher than us, and we beat them. And so it's just every year try to get it right. So I think they did this year. And so having Troy, it's going to be the first time I go back to Troy High after being their JV coach, playing against one of my biggest mentors, Coach Fralick. That's going to be awesome. Having Athens in there, Pontiac and Seaholm, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like we can beat every single one of those teams, and I feel like every single one of those teams can beat us. So it's going to be a lot of fun seeing where we end up, in a couple of months.
Talk about your relationship with Coach Gary. I mean, like, obviously, I know you were the JV coach there. Talk about, the bond that you have with Coach Fralick, and what has he done for you in your coaching career. So talk about, that relationship,
Yeah.
that bond.
No, I appreciate you asking that, Sammy, because, he doesn't, in my opinion, get the flowers he deserves a lot. But, just being into the BCAM Hall of Fame, well-deserved. But he's definitely my biggest coaching basketball mentor without question. Everything that I do today has some type of fruit from what he taught me and what I learned from him. So we continue to have a really strong relationship to this day. And, it's going to be extremely weird being on the opposite sideline with him. Because, again, he's a great friend, a great mentor. So we just hope that he has an amazing, amazing year. I think he needs like 6 more wins or something to 500, which is just out of this world. So definitely pulling for him every single game except the 2 games that he plays the Ravens. But that's my guy forever, for sure.
And then let's look at the teams in your division. I mean, like I ask when I do call-ins with coaches, I always ask them what their thoughts about each team in the division, what they think about them. So I'm going to start off, of course, with Coach Fralick. I mean, like, and Troy. What is your thoughts when you look at Troy on paper?
Yeah, I think one thing about Troy, you just know they're going to be disciplined. Coach does a really good job of it. They're always going to play hard and they're going to be disciplined. And the talent fluctuates. I know they're losing a couple players this year, and I think they're pretty young. So we hope to be able to take advantage of maybe their inexperience, but I think it's always going to be a dogfight with Troy High simply because of the culture that Coach Frelick has created with his staff. So, I don't care, whatever. They're always going to be up in there, fighting for that top position in whatever division they're in for the most part.
Then let's talk about the team that you lost to in the district final, Troy Athens. What's your thoughts on the Red Hawks?
Yeah, big, long. The coach did a tremendous job in his first year last year. And that's just a team, that's the team that knocked you out. So that's the benchmark for us. We definitely look forward to playing them again and, 2 and maybe even 3 times again. So just not to, necessarily look for the get back, but that's the chip. They provided the chip that's going to be on our shoulder this entire year with how the districts ended with, losing by a couple of points.
And let's talk Seaholm. I mean, like, obviously, this is a team, a very lengthy team. Talk about Seaholm in your eyes.
Yeah, always Lincoln. I think, last year, first year coach. And so now, they've had a chance to have a whole summer, and fall. And so I know they're going to be much improved for sure. And so as I scout and get to learn more about them, but to your point, they're always, like you said, seemingly long. They're big, lanky, and pretty deep. So always got to be prepared to, for a physical game, in my opinion, with Seaholm.
And then let's talk Bloomfield Hills. Obviously, they're a team that could be very scary, especially their experience they got coming back.
One of my favorite coaches in the OAA for sure, Brian Canfield. I mean, he's my guy as well. And I think we beat them, fortunately, I think twice last year. And I think it was by 2 points in one game and 3 points in other games. So it's a little bit of a rivalry kind of developing with us simply because, he's one of my really, really good friends in the coaching industry. But he has those 2 guards, one being his son. And he's as tough as nails. Andy Canfield is going to be tough. And so he's going to run the show over there. And obviously the big fellow who I believe is going to Wayne State. So they're talented. I would put them, at the top of one of the top teams in the division right now on paper. And they're going to be a tough team to play against this year.
And then Pontiac. I mean, obviously you look at, of course, new coach, new system there. So what's your thoughts when you look at Pontiac?
Yak Town, man. Athletic, great guards. My guard, CJ, played a lot with them this summer. And, yeah, those guards can go. They can shoot it. They love to shoot it. And they just hoop. That's the way I put it. I'm not sure the style of this new coach, but, they just hoopers. There's a lot of just gifted. They play basketball. They play with a lot of instinct. And, yeah, we're going to see. Got a lot of scouting to do on them. But if I were a person that had to put lists on who's number 1, 2, 3, I'd probably put them at the top of the blue on paper right now.
And then let's look at, of course, let's go back to your team here, back to Royal Oak. Let's talk about program strength. Talk about your sub-varsity program. Talk about the youth levels, and then we'll talk about the community.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, for us, Sammy, we don't have great numbers. We have kids that play multiple sports at Royal Oak. We have kids that play a lot of soccer. And I think soccer, if I were to say, is the king in Royal Oak. I guess that's kind of the most popular sport. So we to be quite frank, lose, 2 or 3 players each year to soccer, unfortunately. But with that, if you're, a sophomore, you're a freshman and you can play, we typically move you up pretty early and we get the process started. And so a lot of guys, by the time they're in their junior, senior years, have played a year or two of varsity basketball. And that's kind of hurts our sub levels a little bit because we're taking obviously some talent away from them. But, Coach Devontae Black, our freshman coach, and my brother, BJ Smith, the JV coach, they just do a tremendous job of setting the culture of the type of player we want, how to compete. And so by the time they get to varsity, we know we have a person that, knows our system, knows what compete means, and is a good kid and matches our culture and the type of kid that we're looking for. So kind of a long-winded answer, but, we really play a lot to win at the varsity level. And sometimes that does hurt our sub-varsity teams, but they do a great job, and we love those kids as well.
Talk about the student body there, the Raven's Nest, I call it, the student section over there. How important is having the Raven's Nest for you guys at home and also on the road?
Man, it's everything. That the game against Athens, where we played Berkeley in the districts, and that was just off the chart. And then the district final against Athens, that place was full, and the kids were going crazy. So, we're just hoping to make that every single home game where it hasn't necessarily been that. So I'm imploring these kids to come out, and we want to show them a good time. We have DJs at our games. We have competitions. I bring the Pistons Extreme team to some of our games, and so we want to make a great environment and then give them some good basketball on the court. But, they're kids, man. And anytime you hear your boy, your girls cheering for you behind you, it just gives you that extra superpower like everybody. And so we're just hoping to have that this year. But we love it. I'm talking, Sam, I'm trying to offer free pizza, whatever it is to get these kids out because it really does help us.
And then talk about, of course, the gym that you guys play at. Of course, you have the home bleachers on the court, and then the road team's going to have to sit up top upstairs. Talk about your gym and how that makes it feel comfortable for you guys on home court.
Yeah, we're trying to actually. I think next year you're going to see maybe a little bit different look in that gym. Just kind of, but I'll leave that for later. It's one of the best gyms. I love the fact that there's an upper level and kind of a lower level. This year we're trying to allow our student sections just to be the entire lower level, so they can take up the first and second rows. I haven't got that confirmed yet. We just want to make that environment even better. But we just feel like from a site standpoint, a view standpoint, it's one of the best gyms to watch basketball in. And again, like we said, having a DJ and just the environment, we look to host as many districts and find regionals and all that as we can because we feel it can fit a lot of people in there and it's great sight lines wherever you sit. But for us, we're hoping that our students can kind of take over that whole lower level and put, everyone else upstairs.
Let's talk about that district. I mean, like you're at Troy Athens this year for your district. So break down your district in your own eyes.
It's very similar to last year. I just adding Cranbrook, obviously. So it's going to be the same. Who's playing the best basketball at that time? It's kind of crazy because, we can start playing teams three times, with Troy and Athens. And so it's so tough to play a team 3 times because by that time you pretty much know everything about what they're doing. So it's going to come down to, I think, who's playing the best basketball at the end of the year, which coach has gotten his team, kind of just humming and in sync. And I'm just hoping that we continue to improve from game 1 to game 22 so that when we do enter that, we're a team that's going to be a tough out because of the way we play defense, because of how we react or don't react to adversity. And because of the schemes that we have. So we're just looking forward to, putting ourselves in a position to play in the district final again and hopefully having a different outcome because I feel like, our players the sting is still there. And when we're back there, I think that may help us. And I'm hoping that it helps give us that extra bump to go ahead and do what we have to do and do something that has never been done, at Royal Oak before.
Talk about the community aspect of Royal Oak. I mean, like how important is the community is to the Ravens basketball program?
And shout out to, Derek Smith, our AD, Pam Moore, our assistant. I call her our assistant AD. She's just awesome. So the support from them is everything. And it just relies all back to the community. We have a great booster program. And so, it's just on us to provide, people with good basketball, provide them, let them know that, when we play our games and do everything we can to host, youth basketball camps, utilizing that Pistons leverage to host as many youth camps as we can and be a part of not just basketball and the athletic program, but for the community as a whole. And they do a great job of supporting us as well. But it all starts, man, with, our athletic director, D. Smith.
Before I let you go, Coach, talk about the expectations for Royal Oak heading into this season.
I expect us to not take this for granted ever. Like, I expect us to play like you just never know, man. Sammy, this is, for me, it's always bigger than basketball. Basketball is the tool to reinforce and teach life lessons, man. So for me, it's just to make sure that every time we step on that court, whether it's practice or a game, we're not going through the motions. We're not taking it for granted. We're not thinking we're better than we are. We are privileged and blessed to be doing it. And so I hope that shows in how hard we play. And then it's on us as coaches, myself, Adam Banchu, Joe Zanetti, Sam Potts, to really put them in positions to excel and to reach their ceiling individually, and then for us as a team. So, that's kind of a weird way to answer that question. There's no wins or losses. We win if we reach our ceiling. What that is, I think only time will tell. And if we're doing what I hope happens, then by the end of the season, we'll be playing great basketball and putting ourselves in position to win a couple of championships, both league and district.
One more question. Do you have a theme or motto this year for Royal Oak basketball?
No, not really. I think it's just more of that culture, that mindset of it's not about me, it's about us. So I don't know if that's a theme or not, but really just getting away from ourselves and caring about your teammate more. And that's, Sammy, that's so powerful, man, when you don't have guys playing for their points or their assists or their whatever. They're playing for their teammates. So when you got 12, 13 guys doing that for real, like it sounds good, but actually doing that, it's powerful, and it's tough to penetrate, and that's a tough out. So that's what we hope to be.
Royal Oak Coach Aaron Smith, thank you for calling in this week here on the podcast. Wish you guys the best of luck this season, and go Ravens.
Sammy, I got to give you props, man. I love your content, man. Thanks for doing this. It really is really awesome. You do a great job.
I appreciate you. Thank you really much, Coach.
All right, brother. Take care.
Bye-bye. That was, of course, Royal Oak Coach Aaron Smith here. When you look at the Ravens this year, this is a team that can really make some noise this year in the blue. I mean, there's a lot of hype surrounding Royal Oak heading into the year, and I think that's going to be something to really, really watch for as we end into the year. Let's look at some other teams in the blue division. Of course, we have the Red Hawks of Troy Athens. Of course, last season this is the team that won a district championship. They got a lot of pieces coming back, of course, led by Alan Spock. So I caught up with Coach Mitchell Versalino at Media Day talking about the Falcons. Red Hawks, Coach, one of my favorite Italian names of the year. Coach Mitchell Versalino.
Yeah, Versalino, you got it.
Yep. So, Coach, last year you won a district championship. And how important that district championship has been to Troy Athens?
Well, I think for me personally, it gave me, being a first-year coach, credibility. Credibility with the parents, with the guys, and we're just looking forward to using that as a launching pad into this season. Talk about
the district coming up. Of course, you guys have a very interesting district. I mean, also the team you got coming back. So talk about, how Alan's been. Obviously, Alan's been mentioned a lot for you guys. So talk about how his development's been.
Yeah, Alan is somebody who is poised to take a huge leap. I think his name is spreading around on social media a little bit right now, and towards the end of the season, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to know who Alan is.
What's your... sorry.
Yeah, he scores at all three levels. I mean, we're hoping that he does some special things for us this season.
What is your expectation this year, Coach?
Expectation, it's tough to say. We haven't had tryouts yet. I'm really looking forward to getting in the gym tomorrow and just getting all the guys together. To start the season, I want our guys to play tough, competitive basketball, and then once we get our group together, we'll go from there.
Thank you really much, Coach.
Yeah.
We got Coach of the... Of course, that was the Red Hawks coach, Mitchell Versalino. Of course, last season, in his first season, taking over the program for Coach Dave Scott, led the Red Hawks to a district championship. They ran into Warren D. LaSalle. To talk to Coach Smith earlier, you look at Troy Athens, they got some size. I mean, they got Payne in the interior. Caden Hanbury is a very talented player. I know that they lost one of their top players, and will be playing football this year. But when you look at Athens, I mean, this is a team that could really surprise some people, and they could really do that this year. And I think Athens, they could really make some noise. And I think for them, the sky's the limit for Troy Athens. I think they can really, really contend. They can make some noise this year in the blue. Let's look at, of course, a team that that had some ups and downs last year, and that was the Troy Colts. And you look at Troy last year, they lose 3 very key players in Mason Parker, Andrew Lake, and Leo Pinoza. So I caught up with legendary Hall of Fame coach Gary Freilich to talk about the state of the Colts. We got the icon himself, the legendary coach Gary Freilich. Coach, congratulations on being in the Michigan Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
And let's look at last year. You guys lost 3 very good players. You lost Mason, you lost Andrew, and then, of course, Leo. So talk about how you're going to have to replace those 3 guys, and what's the challenge going to be for doing that?
Well, it's going to be really difficult to replace them. And I think what we need to do, we're going to need to pick up the defense, play a little better defense than we did last year, dive on the floor for loose balls, probably full court press people, make the open shots that we do get, and just play ferociously, just no holds barred, and just get after it.
Talk about the younger Kuiper here. I mean, Blake Kuiper, obviously. So how's his development been for you?
He's better. He's getting better every day. He's a soccer player, so he spent a lot of time on the soccer field. But now he's on the basketball court. We're working with him on certain mid-post moves, and he's improving.
What is your expectations here, Coach?
Just to play hard and play tough, and think go through the process of becoming a better team.
Thank you really much, Coach.
You're not.
So that was Troy coach Gary Freilich at Media Day here talking about the state of the Colts. They did lose a lot of scoring. I mean, you look at players like Will DeArmond, Blake Kuiper. They're going to have to really step their game up. They're going to have to really play well defensively if they're going to have any chance to do very well in this division this year. So, so that's going to be the key for Coach Gary Freilich to, to get back to that scrappiness that Troy's been known for. It's always been a gritty team, and I expect that to be this year with Troy heading into this season. So now let's go from Troy to Seaholm. Seaholm last season under Coach Spencer Adams, they had a lot of rebuilding last year. So I caught up with Coach Spencer Adams to see how year 2 would look with the Maples. I got the coach of the Maples, Coach Spencer Adams here. Coach, last season was a transition period for you. So talk about how the transition going from year 1 to year 2 going for you.
It's been a lot more fun. Year 1, you've got a lot of stuff that you're kind of worried about staying on top of and just making sure you don't drop the ball. And you learn from that in year 1. And year 2, you've implemented your style, you've implemented your mentality and your mindset, and now it's the kids are kind of taking that over and taking it upon themselves to kind of set that standard on their own. And it's been really fun to see as a coach.
No, I've noticed you guys have a lot of links. So when you look at Seaholm, I've always known for them a lot of links. So talk about how important the length has been for you guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big role, a big player for us this year. Like we've got the 3 guys we brought with us here, I think are all probably 6'3" or taller, and then we've got a couple more guys that are juniors that are right at that 6'3" mark. Like we've got some size and some length, and obviously that that gives you some advantages on the glass, offensively and defensively. And so again, being in year 2 of the offense, right? When shots are going up, you can start crashing the glass a little harder in year 2 because you know what to expect. You know when that ball is going to the rim, and these guys are working on getting physical all offseason. We've been in the weight room, right? So it's not only just height, but we've been working on our strength, and they've been playing a lot tougher in the open gyms than we were in the offseason of year 1. So it's been fun to watch.
What is your expectations here, Coach?
Wins and losses, who knows? I mean, that's why you play the games, but our expectation is to leave the gym as being the tougher team every night. The team that shows the most passion, the most love for the game, discipline, solid in the basics, do the simple things better. So that's our goal.
Thank you really much, Coach.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
So you look at Seaholm this year, and you look at the Maples, they could make some noise. That length gives teams problems. They got some experience. Players to really watch for. Obviously, Brody Fieldmaker's one of them. Patrick Hughes is another one. You got Everett Wirtz is another one. I mean, like, they got size, they got length, and that's really where, for Seaholm, that's going to be their strength. Is going to be that length, their defense, and can they score? That's the big question that the Maples have heading into the year. So it'll be very interesting to see. I mean, Seaholm's going to be a tough out for anybody in that division. Now let's look at Bloomfield Hills, and you look at the Blackhawks. This is a team that could really make some noise this year. So I talked to Coach Brian Canfield about the state of the Blackhawks, and this is a loaded team they got coming up. I got the coach of the Blackhawks, Coach Brian Canfield here. Coach, got a loaded team this year, especially in the guard front. I'm a little concerned about that interior situation, so talk about that interior a little bit.
Yeah. We'll see if we're loaded, right? Like, all that's going to be earned on the core. We do have a core of kids coming back, and won 14 games last year, 14-10, but you just don't automatically improve. You got to earn that on the court. So we're not taking anything for granted. We are smaller. We have some good guard play, but we also have some guys, like Mason Hitchcock and Brendan Buys that can play, defend bigger guys and rebound, and also step out and shoot threes, and but they can play in the interior. And then we got a couple other guys from those guards. Duran Mason is a guard, but he can guard a bigger guy, and he's a monster on the boards. And then Carter Canfield all last year guarded guys who were 6'2", 6'4", 6'6", just because we were smaller. So we do feel like we can match up against bigger guys, but rebounding will be a key for us.
How about that post seat in the district? Obviously, you're going to have Birmingham Brother Rice in there.
Yeah.
Talk about, what's it going to take for you guys to go up against a proven team like Brother Rice when you see them in the future?
Yeah, so, if we're not taking anybody for granted or counting any wins during the season, we're definitely not doing that in districts. And, we'll have to earn the right to play in districts as far as advancing. And so that's one of those things you take one game at a time. I know they're a really good team, a really good program. We have other good teams on our schedule, and our goal is just to win the next game.
What is your expectations here, Coach?
A couple things. One is that we do want to improve our record from last year with 14 wins. We want to be north of that, and we want to win the league. That's one of our goals, like every other team out there, and to win a district in advance. So that's probably not that much different than other teams out there, but we have a couple other goals where we have a handful of kids that are trying to play at the next level. And a great accomplishment would be able to have those kids continue to improve and find a home in college. We have 2 who are already going to land that path, and there's 2 more that we want to help get there. So we're going to take a lot of pride in helping those guys grow and get college ready. I've always said, I'll trade a win on a Tuesday night or a Friday night for an opportunity for a kid to play college. So that's one of our big goals.
Thank you really much, Coach.
All right.
Of course, that was Bloomfield Hills coach Brian Canfield talking about the Blackhawks. They are loaded with a lot of proven guards. You look at players like Duran Mason. You look at Carter Canfield. You got, of course, Mason Hitchcock. You got Drew Buys in the interior. Interior is their biggest concern for Bloomfield Hills coming into the year. So that's going to be something to really watch for with them heading into the year. Can they handle that interior game? That is the big question for the Blackhawks and Coach Canfield. Now let's look at the Pontiac Phoenix. Of course, Pontiac went through a transformation. They got a new coach in Dion Harris. They got a loaded freshman class and some experience. So I caught up with Coach Harris to talk about the state of the Phoenix. I got the coach of the Yak, Coach Dion Harris here. Coach, you obviously first year here at Pontiac. Talk about how the transition period's been for you at Pontiac.
It's been, I've just been taking a lot of the values that I learned as a player and just bringing it into this program. Everything's been smooth so far. Kind of not a struggle, but you got to get these kids to buy in and really believe who you are as a coach.
Talk about this freshman class. Of course, I've seen these guys in middle school. Very, very good class. Talk about how talented that this middle school class has been for you guys coming in being freshmen.
Yeah, we got got 3 tremendous freshmen coming in, and they'll be keys. They'll play some minutes, and then they'll fit in with our older guys that have experience and have been doing it with this league for 3-4 years. Got some juniors and seniors, but those freshman guys, I expect them to really impact us and be able to contribute a lot this season.
What is your expectations here, Coach?
Just to do better than they did last year. I expect to win the league for sure, and we expect to get back to that district title and then build from there.
Thank you really much, Coach.
Yeah.
So that was Pontiac coach, Coach Harris. Obviously, you look at Pontiac, loaded with the freshman class. Obviously, JJ Claudio back. You got the Henry. You got the Henry brothers back as well. I mean, like, Pontiac could be a team that could really make some noise. So when I did the early season projections, Pontiac has to be favored because of that freshman class. Then Bloomfield Hills, I would say right now. Then I would say it's Troy Athens, then Seaholm, then Royal Oak, then Troy. And, now my projections usually don't work out, but I think that's what I'm looking at right now from the early perspective. So the Blue could be a real fun division to really watch for this season. Let's look at a division that is now wide open. That's the OAA Gold. And you look at this division, you got Waterford Kettering in here. They got a new coach in Will Campbell taking over the program. It's got a lot of loaded experience. They're going to be a team that, they've had some struggles under Coach Steve Emmert. Then Rex Walters took over during the summer. Then he stepped down, took a job at Regis University in Colorado. So now you have Coach Campbell, formerly assistant under Emmert. He played at Waterford Kettering, and so I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Waterford Kettering this season in a new division. So you really think about it now with Kettering is, can this team handle? Can this team start to build wins, start to build mental mindset, mental competence? So that's really going to be the thing that goes over with them, and I think that's going to be something to really, really watch for as we head into the season. So really, there are some teams to really watch for in this division. Harper Woods is another one that I think that wasn't at Media Day that could be a team that makes some noise this year. The Pioneers, you look at Harper Woods, this is a team that, they can make some noise. They can make some headways, obviously. They got some proven players on that roster for Coach Tawan Porter. But last season it was really rough in the white, and I think it could be very interesting to see how this team handles that division. And I think it's gonna, and I think for Harper Woods, you have a player like Leon West coming back. That is going to be a key for them going forward. Can they be a threat in the division? Absolutely. So that's something to really, really watch for going forward. Then let's look at Oak Park. And Oak Park, they don't really have a lot of talent. Oak Park's a team that they could make some noise. And I think, going down from the white to the blue, the white to the gold, that could be something to really watch for. Oak Park, they do have some up and coming players. They're a talented team. So it'll be something to really watch for this season. Oak Park could be a team that could make some noise this year. So that'll be something to really watch for. On Harper Woods, obviously, you got Andre Cass coming back. And DeAndre Bidden, obviously, also is playing football for Harper Woods as well. But with Oak Park, I'll be curious to see how this team will look under Coach Durant Shepard this upcoming season. Then let's look at Ferndale University. This is a team that's got a new coach. They got a new coach, Anton Bradford, taking over the program. Of course, Bradford came over from Detroit Osborne. The success that Osborne's had in the past. It's very interesting to see how Ferndale University is going to look, especially from a team last year that knocked off, Stony Creek on the road, and that says a lot there. So it'll be something to really watch. It'll be really interesting to see how Ferndale University does this year in that division with the new coach, new system. And that's going to be something to really, really watch for with them. Then you have Berkeley. I mean, Berkeley, obviously, new coach and James McCullough taking over. Oh, Joe McCullough taking over the program. McCullough, of course, was formerly the coach at Livonia Churchill. Record wasn't great, but, he was an assistant last year at Birmingham Seaholm. Under Coach Spencer Adams. So, you look at Berkeley, who they got coming back. I mean, like, you could look at the both Thermal brothers. Reese Tuttle's another one to really watch for as well. So, Berkeley, they got some pieces, to make some noise this year. And obviously, the Thermal brothers provide that toughness. They're also athletic. They're baseball kids as well. Reese Tuttle, obviously, is a proven athlete for Berkeley as well. So, the Bears, they could seriously make some noise this year as well. A&T, they got a new coach as well, and Josh Lyle taking over the program. This is still a very young roster that they got. I mean, Coach Josh Lyle really booked the schedule. Their non-conference is tough. So it'll be really interesting to see. I'm curious to see how the Warriors do for Coach Lyle, and I think it could be really interesting to see how this team will look. I mean, Southfield could be a very scary team. They could surprise some people this year. So when you look at the division in the white and in the gold, I'd say Waterford Kettering has to be the favorite because of the experience factor. Yes, they do. They do got some issues. They got to fix. They got to fix the losing streak. Obviously, the mental mindset there. They got to fix that. Then obviously, I would have to say right now, you got Harper Woods in there. You got Oak Park in there. Ferndale U in there. A&T in there. So it could be really interesting to see how this division looks. But I think, you look at, if you had to do an early favorite in that division, you have to say Waterford Kettering would have to be the early favorite in the gold division. Now, the gold's wide open this year. Anybody can win that division. It is not, it is wide open when you look at there's really no dominant team in that division. A lot of teams got new coaches there in that division. So I'm curious to see. The only two that have their coach back is Oak Park and Harper Woods. So it'll be really interesting to see how that division plays out heading into the season. So that'll be something to really, really watch for this upcoming season. Now let's go to the red division. And you look at the red. The red is an interesting division because you have, there's 7 teams in this division. And there's some loaded teams in this division. So we're going to start off with, of course, we're going to start with Ferndale. Ferndale wasn't at Media Day, but they're loaded. You look at players like Eden Vineyard, you look at Torrento Adams. Coach Juan Rickman plays a very difficult schedule, as always. So Ferndale's a team that could really make some noise this season, and I think they could really, really do some damage this year. Now, the district's tough. I know they got Detroit Old Redford in there. They do have a former West Bloomfield and Bloomfield Hill standout, Drew Wilson, on that roster. So Ferndale's going to have it tough this season. Their schedule is vicious. It'll help them NPR-wise. So we'll see what happens going forward there. Next, we do have Clarkston. And when you look at the Wolves here, Clarkston could be a very dangerous team this year. Obviously, you look at players like Cole Charter coming back, Kane Burrow coming back. They got some other, Ace Walters coming back as well. So you look at you look at Clarkston, and you think to yourself, and they say, okay, the Wolves is a team that's got, they got experience, but I know the question for me with Clarkston is do they have that chip on the shoulder? That is the question for Clarkston and Coach Tim Wasilk, is do they have that chip? Last year, there were some times they didn't play very well, and that's on Clarkston, like especially, the great Clarkston teams under legendary coach Dan Fife. That Clarkston, I kind of felt like they were a little off last year, but if for Clarkston this year, I think for them, the key for them is trying to get back to what they are, and I think you look at Clarkston, obviously the tradition they've had. Program strength's always going to be there. They're solid program strength wise. Then you look at the middle school ranks are very good, and and I think it's going to be interesting to see what Clarkson has this year. So it'll be something to really watch for going forward there with them. Avondale, they got a new coach in Aaron Fox taking over the program. This is going to be a team that I think could really do some damage. And, you look at with them, they got Max Mull coming in the program. You got Noah Bonds. You got Jacoby Loris. You got, you got Anthony Burton coming back. I mean, you look at Avondale, they got a lot of talent coming back. And obviously with Coach Fox there, they feel like this is the team that they can have some special success. I mean, they haven't got by the district in the districts. Could it be the year they do, even though that's a very tough district? So it's going to be interesting to see what Avondale does. I mean, Avondale's going to be a team that could be a team that really, really watch for this upcoming season. So that'll be something to really, really watch for with them. Then let's look at North Farmington. Of course, North Farmington had a changeover in coaches. Todd Negoshin no longer at North Farmington. He's the new athletic director at Stony Creek. I caught up with new coach Pete Mantilla to talk about the state of the Raiders. I got the new coach of the Raiders, Coach Pete Mantilla. Of course, Pete, you take over for Todd. So talk about how that transition's been going for you.
Real smooth so far. We've been in the gym almost 100 days since June with summer league, fall league, summer practice, 4-player workouts. So it's been great. We've got a big turnout. We've got 16 to 20 kids, most of real committed kids that have been involved. So I'm looking forward to it.
Talk about the changeover from JV to varsity. I mean, how has that been going for you?
It's a big change. A big change is a lot of the work that's involved in running a whole program and then trying to coach a team. Todd did a great job with that. He's incredibly organized. His dad, Coach Nogo, is a real force in the gym. We miss having him there. He'll be with his son's team out in Wall Lake Northern quite a bit and with his grandson. So we are trying to fill that void. We got Jacob Jobert joining our staff, our point guard from 2016. And then we should have another name coming soon.
What is your expectation this year, Coach?
We want to compete, give ourselves a chance to win every night, continue to get better as the year goes on, individually and as a team.
Thank you really much, Coach.
Appreciate it.
That was North Farmington coach, new coach Pete Mantilla in the final year in the OAA. Of course, North Farmington and Farmington are both leaving the OAA next fall for the Lakes Valley Conference. So it'll be very interesting to see how North Farmington does in their final year in the OAA with the new coach. It's not going to be the same system. I mean, because, obviously going from Coach Negoshin to Coach Mantilla, I don't really see a lot of changeover with that transition, but there's going to have to be a transition period that has to happen during the year. So a lot of changeover at North Farmington this upcoming season. So now let's go from North Farmington. Let's go to last year's Red Champion, the Groves Falcons. And you look at Groves last year, had a really good year, a lot of experience, but end up running into Birmingham Brother Rice in the district final on their home court. Greg Graves, of course, beat them, scored 7 straight points in that game. So I caught up with Coach Mark West to talk about the state of the Falcons heading into this season. I got the coach of the Falcons, Coach Mark West here. Coach, last season, a lot of success. I mean, unfortunately, you ran into former Farmington player Greg Graves, and I know I don't want to bring it up to you, but, recap last year in your eyes for me.
Well, it was a great season, and any time that you're able to win the OAA Red, and for us, the first time in the school's history that we were able to do that was a tremendous accomplishment. The guys have taken that on. All 4 of our seniors last year are all playing college sports, so they're excelling at the next level as well. But it was a ton of fun, and the neat thing with that is the guys that were here and coming up now, they got to watch them and see what it takes to play at that level and to consistently compete at that level. So hopefully we learned a lot of those lessons, and we can find the right mix to keep it going this year.
Talk about life in the Red is not easy, and you got a very young team this year. So talk about what is it going to take to withstand and survive this tough division.
Exactly. The Reds going to be tough each and every night, and really, you can't prepare for it without the experience of being in it. So I think this year, the first time through the league, is going to be gaining that experience and having the guys see, how it feels in person, not just watching, the fellas do it last year. So that first time through the league, I think, is going to be a great challenge for us and a great learning experience. And the goal, like it is every year, is to play our best basketball in February. That second time through the league, really show that we've learned and matured as a team, and we're ready to make a run at the end of the season.
What is your expectation this year, Coach?
The expectation is to get better. Last year it was really clear. I thought we came into the season as the favorite for the Red, and we won it. We did what we were supposed to do. This year, there's not a lot of expectations, win and losses, that are kind of put on us. So our expectation is to get better and find our best group and find our best team come February, so that we're competing at a high level at the end of the year.
Thank you really much, Coach. Of course, that was Grove's coach, Mark West, talking about the state of the Falcons. They're going to be a young team this year, and there's going to be a lot of questions with Groves this year, so we're going to see what happens. I mean, Groves, they're young, but who knows what's going to happen. Next, we have both Farmington and West Bloomfield. Of course, Farmington last year had a lot of success, winning a district championship, getting to and then, of course, getting the regional semis. West Bloomfield ran to Orchard Lake St. Mary's. So I addressed both coaches simultaneously, talking about their respective teams. Coaches Arnett Jordan of West Bloomfield and Coach Byron Johnson of Farmington. Here is their interview. All right, we got the coaches of the Falcons and the Lakers. Coach Byron Johnson of Farmington and Arnett Jordan of West Bloomfield here. Coach, I'm going to start with Coach Johnson first. How is the adjustment going to the Red?
From what I hear, it's supposed to be a very difficult adjustment. This is what I hear, allegedly. But our schedule is loaded. We try to play the best competition. We feel like the OAA Red is one of the best in the state. So we'll see where the chips fall when it's all said and done.
Coach Arnett, now this is the one question I'm going to be asking you all season long. How's the defense?
The defense will be good. I think with the new additions of Ryan Hood coming back and Bruce coming from Orchard Lake, I think that our defense will be secure, and then our JV players that are moving up, they were very defensive minded, so I think we'll be really good.
When you look at playing against each other in the Red, I know you two have known each other for a while. Talk about the fact of having to play each other twice this year.
So
we'll go down that first.
We've been waiting for this. This is my brother. We went to Cass together. We played together. We won a title together. So I've always liked to, pit myself against him and see what we have. But they won 20 games last year. He does a good job. The kids love him, and I think he's going to be a good coach. And I think it's going to be a battle. I think he told me he thinks it's going to be sold out. He thinks it's going to be a good game.
Same question.
Well, for me, this is probably my most exciting year coaching, more so from the coaching standpoint. The coaches I get to coach against, like I said, this is my high school teammate. Actually, my assistant coach is also a former high school Cass Tech graduate. And then Juan Rickman, who is also like a brother to me, is also a Cass Tech graduate who is in the Red. So playing against my friends is more than we actually in the group chat all the time. So it's really good banter in the group chat. So the bragging rights this year will be a little more special than previous years.
What are your guys' expectations this year?
For us, our expectation is business as usual. We're going to play hard. We're going to play smart. We're going to play together. We fully expect to continue the streak that we've been on. We did hear that we got lucky 20 times last year, so we want to see if we got if it's true. Was it luck or was it fiction? Was it fiction or was it fact? So we're gonna see.
Arnett, same question. Expectation.
My expectation is for us to win the Red. Like I said at the media day, I've been fortunate enough to win the league twice, and I've gone down and been in last place. So last year I was in last place. So if we follow suit, I'll be on top again this year.
Thank you really much, coaches.
All right.
We got so that was both coaches. Coach Byron Johnson of Farmington. Farmington, of course, this is the last year being in the OAA for them. before they go to Lakes Valley next season, and also West Bloomfield coach Arnett Jordan. For Farmington, they got a lot of experience coming back, and that is big. When you have a team that has a lot of experience like Farmington does, I mean, like, they can make some serious noise in this division. I mean, they're going to be the wild card in this division. I mean, then you look at West Bloomfield, defense was their issue last year. They gave up over 50 points in every game last year. If Coach Arnett Jordan wants to get that problem fixed, they have to play defense. They have to at least hold teams down to 45. At least 45. They can't afford to give up at least 50 and expect to win games. You know what I mean? If they give up 50 or more, that's usually a recipe for disaster. That always has been, especially in this division. So when you look at the early outlook of the Red, now usually my projections are usually wrong. I'd say Avondale has to be a little bit further because of the experience. I mean, you got to give Avondale that edge early on. Clarkston, I probably would say number 2 right now. Then I'd say Farmington. Actually Ferndale. Then Farmington. Ferndale, of course, is loaded with experience. Of course, led by Eden Vineyard. Then it's Farmington. Of course, we know what they have. North Farmington, I would say it's 5th right now, early on. West Bloomfield 6, Grove 7. So really, that's the early outlook for the Red division. So we'll see what happens in that division. Then let's go to the White. I think the White's going to be the toughest division here. And you look at this division, it is not an easy division. So you look at the teams in here. Waterford Vermont comes in from the Lakes Valley Conference, shared the conference, lost some talent, lost Jacoby Manyweathers. They do got some players come back. They have they got Greg White, they got Jordan White, you got Dakari Stevens, they got some key pieces back for Coach Jeff Jason. They got size is my biggest question mark for Waterford Vermont this year. So that's something to really, really watch for with them. So that'll be something to really keep an eye on heading into the year. Stony Creek, new coach Marco Tomic taking over the program. Last year it was very rough for Coach for the players under Coach Jeff Owen. It was really, really rough. I mean, they had some games where they just had some really bad losses. I mean, Ferndale University and South Arson Tech really were the teams that really stood out. So they needed to change this offseason. Obviously, you're bringing a new athletic director in Todd Negocian, of course, who coached at North Farmington, who's got a couple state championship appearances to his name. Of course, Marco Thomas, a very young guy. Of course, he learned at Birmingham Brother Rice under Coach Ricky Palmer. So that's going to be interesting. Stony Creek's got a lot of experience coming back. Look at players like Rose Talagadas, you got Anthony Erghouse, Quentin Ragnai. So it's going to be interesting to see how Stony Creek does this upcoming season. They got some program strength, which helps them. So that'll be something to really watch for with them. And then let's look at Rochester Adams. Of course, Adams is a team that's got a lot of experience. They played in the Red last year. So I caught up with Coach Isaiah Novak to talk about the state of the Highlanders. The coach of Highlanders, Coach Isaiah Novak here. Coach, obviously last season, you had some struggles in the Red. It was like an adventurous year in the Red for you guys. I mean, overcoming loss of 2 players transferred out. Then you had trying to build that up. So how's this been going for you?
This all season's been great. Like I was saying up there, we've been really building our program from the top down. We doubled our numbers in the summer and the fall. Got a couple new coaches that are on staff that are doing a hell of a job helping these guys develop. And we've just been focused on coming into the White this year and competing.
Talk about Cannon, obviously. That 47-point game in AAU ball. How's Cannon been doing for you?
He's awesome, man. He's as good as they get, I know the things that get a lot of the hype are the stats, putting up 47 points, but the things that I and we love about him are the leadership that he brings. He's not a guy that just goes out there looking for points. He's a guy that goes out there looking to win, and he's willing to do that in any way possible.
What's your expectations here, Coach?
Win the first game. We're excited to compete in the White, and I think every game in that division is going to be a battle. And so we gotta create a resilient group of guys. And so far, what I've seen in the offseason, the signs point to us being able to do that.
Thank you really much, Coach.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
That was Adams coach Isaiah Novak talking about the Highlanders heading into the season. You look at Adams this year, Cannon Flynn. Watch out for him. He's a very talented player. He'll make some noise this year. He does have a good supporting cast as well, so Adams could be a factor this upcoming season in the White. So Adams will be a team to really watch for this upcoming season. Let's talk about last season's White champion. It was the Oxford Wildcats. A lot of experience last year, but they ran into Davison in the district semi-finals, losing to them. They lose a lot of talent. So here is Oxford coach Joe Fedoracek talking about the state of the Wildcats, or better known for Oxford fans as Coach Fed. I got the coach of the Cats, Coach Fed here. Coach, last season you guys lost eight players, including Jake and Luke. So talk about how are you going to replace that talent?
I mean, I don't think you can replace those boys. Guard play, those guys were tough, man. Those guys were tough, made my life easy. So, it's a lot of unknowns for us, but I think we got some kids coming up through the pipeline who are going to work hard for us. They put in a ton of time, man, our commitment. Kids in the offseason have done a fantastic job. I'm looking forward to the growth of some of our kids that have trickled through our program, and we're looking forward to that challenge.
Talk about your guards, obviously. You did lose a lot of guards. Any guards that OA Nation needs to know about?
Well, we got a couple kids. One kid coming back into the program who's going to really help us, Cade Lindemood. Looking forward to him being back part of the program. We got a kid, former point guard from our JV team, coming back from an ACL injury. Looking forward to seeing him play once again. We got Grayson Boyle coming off the JV team, who was a heck of a competitor, had a heck of a football season. And then a couple guys who returned for us. You had Cam Moore, who's a competitor, played football as well. And then we expect big-time things out of Brody Casper. He had a phenomenal football season. First team all-league out there in the OAA Red. He scored a ton of touchdowns. I have high hopes for Brody. I love that. I love the way his the amount of effort he's put in, time, dedication into the gym in the off season. I really think he's on the verge of making that next jump into becoming a big time player for us.
What is your expectations here, Coach?
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I do know I got two guys that I brought here tonight, two of my seniors who I love dearly. Carter Jacobson, who's going to compete. He's going to scrap. He's going to give me everything he's got every single night. And then we got Brennan Elling, who Brennan's got to be our guy this year. Brennan can't take a bad shot. Like, any shot's going to be a good shot for Brennan. Brennan's got the green light when he's on the floor. When he steps on the floor, he's got the green light. Brennan can, another kid who just has had a fantastic off season. I think the thing that's going to shock people about Brennan is he puts the ball down on the floor, can post people up, and obviously he can shoot the ball pretty dang good from the outside. So as far as expectations go, I know we're going to come in and I know we're going to work. We're going to compete our tails off every single night. And we'll go from there. And that's all I can ask of the kids.
Thank you really much, Coach.
Absolutely.
So that was Oxford coach, Coach Fed here. Oxford, they're gonna work hard, they're gonna compete. There's a lot of questions, you know what I mean? When you look at the Wildcats heading into the year, there's a lot of questions surrounding the Wildcats heading in the year. Then there's Lake Orion. And Lake Orion last season, of course, had a really tough loss to Waterford Mott. You look at this team, they're very guard heavy. But also you look at, of course, what happened, the success that they've had during the summer. So playing the team ball concept, and you look at this Lake Orion team, this is going to be a team that plays that team ball concept to a T. So, and that makes Coach Jose Andrades look forward to this season. So here's Coach Andrades talking to us on Media Day. We got the coach of the Dragons, Coach Jose Andrades here. Coach, obviously you got team ball has been one of your biggest strengths, and you got a proven team this year. So talk about how important team ball is to you guys this season.
I like the group of guys we got. I think it's got a lot of leadership. They love playing together. They play hard together. And like I said in my little spiel there, I think we got the best guard group I've ever had here at Lake Orion in the last 5 years. So I'm excited about coaching them.
Talk about this team's chemistry. Of course, during the summer, I mean, you guys had a heck of a summer. I mean, talk about the importance of this team's chemistry, the junior class and the senior class.
Oh, it's very important. Both classes. Well, JV team or junior class is well coached by Dave Scott, and they bring much chemistry, and they match our seniors, and it's going to be a fun, exciting year for us.
What is your expectations here, Coach?
The hopefully win a championship, but our league is very tough. I think it's going to be tough. I think every game's going to be a grind. I think every team in our league has a chance to win it, which is pretty fun. And, compete best we can, maybe win a district. Got districts at home, so hopefully we'll try to do that. Again, another tough, a lot of tough teams in that too. Clarkston, Mott, Avondale. I mean, I go on and on. All those teams are really good in there, so we're excited to compete.
Thank you really much, Coach.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, buddy.
Of course, that was Lake Orion coach Jose Andrades talking about the state of the Dragons. You look at Lake Orion this year, you returned Nate Giacalone, Jackson Shosky, Will Farmer, Max Nearing, 4 guys that played a lot of minutes last year for the Dragons, and obviously that team ball game that Lake Orion loves to do is going to be very key for them this season. The junior class looked very good as well. So you look at this Dragon team, I mean, they could be very dangerous this season. And, I call Lake Orion this year, I think this is the most dangerous team because of that team ball concept. When you look at the Dragons. And then we got Rochester. I mean, you look at the Falcons this year, they did lose Max Mall, which is a big loss for them. So, but they got the team game. I mean, you look at, of course, obviously with a couple of returning players as well. So I caught up with Coach Nick Ebola to talk about the state of the Falcons. The Falcons, Coach Nick Ebola here. Coach, when you look at this Rochester team, I notice a lot of chemistry. So talk about the chemistry of Rochester coming into the season.
Well, we got a lot of guys returning, multiple 3-year varsity guys. So, yeah, the chemistry is really good. They really like each other. They like competing with each other. They've been in the gym all summer, all fall, working hard. Just, like I said, they're all friends. So, very selfless players. They celebrate the success of others. And so it's real fun to watch because they share the ball. There's no ego. No one cares who's scoring. They're all about one common goal. They love to win. They love to compete. So it's a very special group.
Talk about the division. Obviously, the white division. I call this division this year the kiss of death. I mean, when you look at the teams in this division. So talk about how important, being in this division, especially in a division with a lot of parity.
Yeah, we're very excited to be in the white this year. It was one of our goals last year to try to move up. But especially with the realignment, I think it's very competitive, with Adams, Stony, Lake Orion, Oxford, Waterford Mott. There's no easy night. You got to come in and compete every night. A lot of talent at all those teams. So we're excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What is your expectation this year, Coach?
Our expectation is to work hard and get better every day. Obviously, we would we'd love to compete for another league title and compete for a district title. That's usually 2 of our program goals. We got a lot of guys coming back, so if guys work hard and compete every day and keep getting better, we'll have a chance at those goals. But again, every night's going to be a dogfight, so we got to come to play.
Thank you really much, Coach. I got the coach. So that was Rochester coach Nick Ebola talking about the state of the Falcons. When you look at Rochester this year, as I mentioned, program strength, team game, obviously, you look at players like Anthony Chicharro, you look at Luke Lauer, Nate Tandy coming up from the JV ranks. Rochester could be a very scary team this year. And I forgot to mention Logan Pleasant as well. Rochester, they could be very scary this year. And this is a team that won a district championship last year. So Rochester, they got experience. They're going to be tough. And you look at the Falcons, they're going to be solid this year. So when you look at the White this year, Waterford Mott, I would have to say is the early favorite because of the size. But you can never count out anybody else in this division. I mean, Lake Orion, could seriously challenge them with the team play concept. Rochester could do the same with the team play concept. Stony Creek's got experience with the energized coach. And then Adams, we know they got Cannon Flynn there. And in Oxford, they lost a lot of talent, but this is still a good team, good program. I mean, Coach Fed's done a really nice job with that program over there at Oxford. So it'll be very interesting. I think the White's going to be the kiss of death division this year, and we're going to see what happens this year. I got my top 10. I'll be on my blog at SagamorBay4650 at blogspot.com. It'll be also on the website around the OA at Wibley.com. Also on the O1 TV blog as well. The preview will be out within the next couple of days. So that is the take on the boys basketball side of things. Good luck to everybody this season, and let's see what happens this upcoming season. God bless, and God bless all.